It is not watercolor. Did it say watercolor? Oh shit! On the restream thing, huh? But the title of the stream should not be watercolor. Damn it. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Oh, thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. Now hurry up and get your affiliate status so, you know, I can sub back. Every time I try, I forget. I'm like, shit, I can't. I can't sub to Autumn. Yeah, I think in my Discord and the updates that go out to Twitter and somewhere else, Facebook maybe. What? I got... What did I get? Oh, I should add? Really? Is the... That's weird. I haven't changed the mic at all. Weird. Weird. Okay. Let's see. Where are we here? Oops. Okay, how's that? Is that better? I'm also trying not to, like, talk really loud. Okay. Does that sound better? Or is that... Give it another 3 dB. Alright. Okay, how about that? Mic check. Cool. Weird. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've been wanting to actually do this, illustrate this scene for a while, and I feel like some of my other stuff has gotten a little too much, like just redoing scenes that I've done already. So, can you not hear the music? Or is it just really quiet? That's weird. That's really weird. Why? Why? Can you hear that? That's so weird. But I've had music in my other streams. People have commented on it. And yeah, it should be... That's weird. Can no one Can nobody hear the music? Anyone who's watching? Pop into the chat and let me know. Weird. How about now? Can you hear me now? Nice Kilburn. Really weird. You hear a little. Hey, thanks for the follow. Jitinkara. I'm sure it's super interesting watching me mess with sound levels, but we'll get back to the art, I promise. Good there. Okay. Weird. I wonder why the sound levels changed so much. Like, I didn't do anything. Very strange. Okay, alright. Let's draw some stuff. Let's get back to this. And let me, sorry, it's been getting warm in the apartment. Weird. Okay, well, whatever. I'm leaving it. Yeah, I've been wanting to just illustrate this scene for a while. Start getting into some newer stuff with these guys, rather than just kind of rehashing and reimagining older scenes. So I figured now is as good a time as any, and plus I really just want to kind of knock out a few things for Monk and Fish and hopefully get like a pitch package together. Have enough stuff that I could pitch it. Theoretically, I could just probably write the story down and I would already have enough, but I want a certain amount of consistency in anything that I show. So one reason that I have been reworking past ideas. Plus this one I wanted to do really simple. Like the reason it's so widescreen is because I want to do one of those just like really simple panning animations. Don't want to I'm not going to animate the characters and stuff. I just want to do a really simple pan. Similar to this guy, not those. Right. Similar to that. So just super simple animation with layers. Something along those lines. So that's the idea. We'll get there eventually. But here they're basically like hopping rocks down this river because the forest is like so dense on either side. and then Monk gets distracted because there's this like what he thinks is like this firefly that's just been bugging him for a while now, and then it turns out to be like more of a pixie type creature. So he's annoyed right now. He's about to try to swat it, smash it, and at some point he'll realize that it's not a bug. Bugs don't have boobs. And I keep oscillating, honestly, between... I feel like for the actual pitch stuff, I would have it be more cel-shaded. But, I don't know, I also have fun kind of rendering up the more stylized stuff. So, we'll see. I'll probably... might end up doing both at some point, but views. Let's see here. Just make sure got my So I have them with like travel packs on. I might actually keep that. Briefly thought about taking those out, but it kind of makes sense. Obviously, they're at a certain point they basically salvage whatever supplies they can from the shipwreck that opens the story. And like different crates and things wash up on shore from the shipwreck, so they kind of get what they can from those. I've just been debating what kind of travel packs they have. Like, I've always sort of drawn them more with like a backpack type thing, and I kind of like that. But I might do something a little simpler too, like more just like a shoulder pack or something. But I kind of like the silhouette potential of the backpack, so fuck it, let's stick with that. means his tail will have to be going off of the backpack. Plus, there's just something fun about cartoon characters with big backpacks. So, how's everyone's Saturday? It is so quiet in the chat. Trying to figure out the shoulder straps here, and technically you wouldn't really see them because shoulders are up like this. So I'm good. I'm good. My eraser. I want these to be a simple, like, leather and rivet design, right? You don't want to go all too like modern or anything. Clearly, this is more detailed than an actual animation frame would be. Oh, right on. Right on. Now the only thing is that he normally has his swords in, like, the small of his back, and they can't be there if the backpack is there. Maybe they'll be just a little lower. How about that? Plus, let's modify this. Modify. See what feels good for the swords once we get this other stuff going. Hey, Linus, how are you? Thank you. Yeah, I'm just getting some more monk and fish stuff going here. I'm just wondering if I want to. I had him kind of on both feet, leaning back, but I almost want to have it like he. Maybe stepped back? No. No. Like it. I'll just push it a little more. Maybe. Linus, how's your Saturday? And am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Linus? Lenise? Gotta be bigger. Actually, there are a couple things that need to happen here. Something like that. She's like, dude, come on, let's go. And he's like, there's this damn bug. And then he'll have like a Dean Winchester moment and take a close look and he'll be, what? Nipples? always do this with her. I always, when I have her head turned, it's always turned on the side that her bangs fall. And it's never really the most ideal angle. I just want to like that tilts to her head though. Don't want to lose that. I feel like her head is turned just a little too much, so gotta change that, but cool. Christmas, I was gonna say, isn't a bit soon, but you know, by the time you're done with the commission, then it'll be a little closer, so I suppose it makes sense. Assuming it's a commission that'll take, you know, some time. Like that angle, we'll need to make sure that where she's standing is like a little further back in space, right, than where he is. So it's the hard part when I do, sometimes when I do these thumbs and I do them really small, like they look fine because they get the idea across, and then when I really dig in, I'm like, wow, those proportions, way off. So I try to be more mindful of that these days. I'd done this rough a while back just to get the idea down so I wouldn't, you know, forget. So I would have some kind of reminder to do it. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. just a little big here. By much. Alright. Okay. I think we got it. I think. How are we? Hey, Inkwell, what's up? I'm doing well, just dealing with the frustration of having to fix my own thumbnails. Fix my own shortcomings. But overall, I'm doing well. I can't complain. How are you doing? Nice. Hey, it sounds like my afternoon. I just had a sandwich for lunch too, and now I'm doodling on the iPad. Wait, Autumn, are you doing a shoot today, or is it for another weekend? She should actually also have a pack on. Let's not forget that. It'd be weird if only Monk had a pack. I see. Oh no, we're getting a raid! Jelinek, thank you for the raid. Thank you for the raid. Jelinek, welcome to the party. Raiders, welcome to the party. We are working on what will be, I don't want to say a keyframe, at least not in the animation sense, keyframe more in the viz dev sense. Just like a panoramic eventually, that I just want to animate a very simple camera pan on, right? Yeah, for sure. We appreciate all the viewers. Whether it's one viewer or 7. Yeah, so just kind of getting back to some Monk and Fish stuff here. And like I said, I just want to do a really simple, eventually, won't happen today, a really simple camera pan, basically like this one here. Right, so all it is just animating the layers going by with some parallax. So that's my idea for what I'm working on right now, eventually. Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Just setting up the basics of it, and her head is still way too big. Like looking at it, oh, I should probably be on the right layer. How about that? A novel idea. Thank you for the follow, Javolsky. Hello, Webzy. Thank you. Yeah, he's about to. So, for anyone that missed it, he's basically like they're, strangers in a strange land, right, on this mysterious island that they shipwrecked on, and they're just trying to like figure out where the hell they are at this point. This is early on, and they're just trying to get to high ground so they can get a better vantage point, right? And there's what seems like let's see if this will zoom in. What has seemed like a bug, like a firefly, that's been bugging Monk for like a couple days now. And he's like about to just swat it. And then he realizes that it's actually like a little pixie. But Fish here is like, dude, come on, let's go. And he's like, okay, this damn bug though, hang on. And he's like about to swat it, and then he sees some anatomy that he wasn't expecting. So that's the idea. And as I was saying before, sometimes when I do a thumbnail, especially if I'm just trying to get an idea down, I'm like, yeah, cool, that's great. You know, idea's down, I'll get back to it. And then when I actually dig into it, I realize how much correction I have to do on the anatomy sometimes. You know, when you're drawing really small, it all looks fine. The exaggeration isn't even really noticeable until you dig in and you're trying to do accurate anatomy based on, in this case, based on the model sheets that I've done now. Not accurate in terms of real world proportions, because I think they're only like 5.5 heads tall, so. Stylization. Whee! Navy Knight, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. So I just have my model sheets up on the computer. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But I'll show you guys real quick. So model sheets. So this is who I'm drawing right now. Let's collapse some of these. And there's Monk. So it's just going to be these two in this scene. Although it would be kind of fun maybe to have not him, but sort of him. Where are these guys? It might be fun to have a couple of these guys maybe tucked back in the woods, but I'll decide that later. This one was just having fun, actually, like rendering him up. Because he cracks me up. Webzy, thank you for the follow. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Eventually, we'll get there. Where'd we go? I was gonna say I kind of want her arms a little slimmer, but I don't think so. She's a badass warrior. She can be buff. It's okay. They're both pretty badass in their own ways, but of the two, she's the better fighter. Let's see. My iPad setup. Chris, I'll work on getting a stalking button. Javolsky, so the iPad setup, I am currently I just have it plugged into the computer, and OBS is grabbing the iPad as, I believe, a video input device. So pretty easy. I used to have to grab the QuickTime window, and then with the Catalina update, all of a sudden I couldn't do that anymore. And I freaked out for a hot minute because I was literally about to go online in like 3 minutes. And then I was like, well, I'll just try, because before it didn't work. I couldn't grab the iPad as a video capture device in OBS. So I don't know when that changed exactly. I just remembered the last time I tried, it didn't work, but that was some time ago. And so I tried it, and it worked perfectly. I'm like, oh, this is like better than grabbing the QuickTime window. At least simpler, right? The fewer apps that I have to have going, the better. Okay, let's gotta get this gesture right. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not streaming from the iPad. I'm streaming from my computer. So I have the iPad plugged into the computer. And then, streaming out of OBS and using Restream to push it out to Twitch and YouTube. So, it's gotten better. It used to be a bit of a pain in the ass. I remember. Thankfully, they have made changes and made some headway as far as convenience goes, because it was something that I really felt should have been a lot easier than it was to do, but that's kind of the case with a lot of these things, right? The fact that it took them a pandemic to make it so we could use DSLRs as webcams is just ridiculous to me. Ridiculous. Tangents. We don't like tangents. No, I'll be treating this somewhere halfway between cell animation and something that I'm going to paint up, at least in terms of line work. I'm not really trying to do super cell shaded style line work. Meaning I don't mind the line work getting a little more detailed and descriptive, right? More so than typical cell animation would. Mostly because this is a more of a VizDev frame. I want the mood. concerned with how I would animate it right now. I want to get back to that walk cycle animation. I just realized at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I really want to do this, but as far as the development of the project goes, it's not buying me anything other than the satisfaction of animating, which I do love. I think it's super fun. Thoughts on Jake Parker? Jake Parker, the Inktober guy? Right? That's right? Jake Parker, that's his name? Why am I blanking on that? Yeah, if you're talking about the Inktober guy, it depends on what aspects. That's a pretty broad subject. I think his art has gotten better over the years. I think like his creating Inktober has done a lot of good for his own art. Like a few years ago, I thought his inks were not that strong, but props to him. He's practiced, and but I have not really kept up on what he's been doing. I think Inktober's cool. I don't really participate in Inktober anymore because what drama? The video claiming he stole the guy's entire book on inking. Oh, I did not hear about that. He stole his book on inking. So did Jake Parker put out a book on inking? And whose book did he steal, supposedly? I saw Peter Hahn say something, but I thought he was talking about something that he was dealing with. I didn't... Yeah, for some reason I thought someone was saying that Peter had stolen something, but I didn't really look into it. I was hanging out with girlfriend. Yeah, like without actually seeing more detail, that'd be hard for me to comment on. I've like yeah, it is tough because I see it all the time. Like, look, how many tutorials are there now for doing like 360 painting in Photoshop, and no, it's fine. It's cool. Like, I think we should be able to talk about this stuff, right? If not now, when? But like, I'm pretty sure that Yama was the first one to really put out like anything worthwhile as far as tutorials on doing 360 painting in Photoshop. Now, yeah, exactly. It's like it becomes part of the art world. It becomes a technique, and now like there's a bunch of people putting out tutorials, and which is actually kind of a good thing because they are now doing it with the updated versions of Photoshop, whereas Yama has not updated his tutorials for the newer Photoshops. So some of the stuff that he was doing in his original tutorial actually doesn't work anymore. It's like they've changed things in Photoshop to where you can't do it the same way. So then like I had to go back and I had to look for these other tutorials that answered some specific questions. So once things are out there in the art world, I don't really, I don't think that one person can lay claim to it. I think there are exceptions. But, if... yeah, I think you have to be careful if you're plagiarizing. And I think if your work and my work are similar, but I never saw him. He just evolved along parallel lines. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel that way with a lot of artists. I think people will evolve the same, but I do think you have to be careful with, as Jabalski's saying there, if he's putting in techniques that he doesn't even use, then it does beg a certain question, like, okay, did he use them at some point? If not, why is he putting them in there? Because if he doesn't use them, then why is he's not really qualified. But again, without actually seeing the details, I can't say one way or the other. I think if someone else has a book out there, too bad. You put it out there for everyone. It's just information. You don't get to say I'm the only one that gets to talk about this technique. And if you put the book out there, this is what you open yourself up to. That sucks. My thinking is, if you want people to mostly come back to your stuff and your information, do it better than the other people that are putting the information out there. So, yeah, I think there then you get into sticky territory, because when you're talking about layout and design, then that is something that someone can lay claim to. So, yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, if he did actually jack the layout and design, that's a hard one to justify. By the way, what's up, Willie? And I don't know what Parker has come out and said, if he has flat out denied it, in which case that's a dangerous slope too, because I think it's pretty hard to land on the same layout just by chance. So that's I don't know, could be a little iffy, but without actually seeing it, I'm not sure. I kind of I'd stopped paying attention to the whole Inktober thing, so I have not really been up on any of the goings on in that world, simply because I tend to, these days when I sketch in ink. Like, it's just what I do now. I don't do a lot of pencil sketching outside of work, and even at work these days I've been doing a lot more illustration than sketching. So for me, Inktober kind of lost some of its luster. When I was like, well, I don't really need Inktober to sketch in ink. So it's not feeling right. And I won't lie, I feel like Inktober maybe went to his head a little bit, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think if you're just talking about techniques, it's one thing. If someone, if someone kind of like has similar wording or something, because there are only so many ways that you can effectively describe a technique, right? And most of the time when I'm talking about art, I am usually using some kind of description that I heard. The reason I'm using it is because it makes it clear. It helped me to understand the concept, and so I'm going to relate it in the same way. That doesn't bother me. If it's like word for word, that's different. And then it would have to be more than, say, like a sentence or two, because we can all kind of memorize 2 sentences, right? And we'll have those in our head. And then if you're someone like me who can pretty easily remember word for word what somebody said, then it's even more of a like whatever kind of a thing. But I do think that if you're talking about layout and how a book is designed, I think that is much harder to just accidentally land at, like the amount of different ways that someone could choose to lay out a book. Like, I don't know, I never, unless it's books coming from the same company, I never see books that are somehow laid out in the same way. So that's a little iffy right there. But I don't, in a lot of ways, I don't really care one way or the other. Like when I had met Parker at Lightbox, or not Lightbox, sorry, I met him at CTN one year, and I don't want to say like, oh, he didn't know who I was, because it wasn't really about that, but he did kind of talk to me like I was some noob that didn't quite know what he was doing, but it was because he didn't even know my work at all. So, but it was just kind of like, maybe that shouldn't be your default, in terms of how you address somebody, especially when the person is very like professionally dressed, and button-up shirt and a vest and all that shit. And that kind of bugged me. Especially because I was walking around CTN with Eliza, and she knew him, and so she introduced us. So you would think by that rationale he would maybe assume that I was a professional, and he didn't. And I just told him, I was like, yeah, I wanted to do a drawing every day for Inktober this year, but I don't think I can because I'm just too busy. And then I forget what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, oh, come on, like you can't whip out, you just gotta like push through. You just gotta push through and just do your best. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? I'm like, goddamn professional. I was like, no, I'm too busy with work, like working 10-hour days, and we were really busy at that time. So it just like, I knew I wasn't gonna have the time to like fully do a drawing every day, and it's just like, dude, you might want to find out who you're talking to before you start talking to them like they're some undisciplined student, you know? So that I was kind of like, all right, dude, I'm not impressed. Thanks. So yeah, Inktober lost a bit of its luster for me, and I'm sure, like, you know, he wasn't mean or anything like that. He wasn't an asshole. I'm sure he's a perfectly nice person. I just, you know, having been to enough conventions and expos, especially when you're right in the middle of the entertainment industry, right in Los Angeles. I mean, Burbank in the case of CTN, you don't know who the hell you're going to run into, who you're going to meet. You don't know who's a professional and who isn't, because, you know, most of the time when you're walking out and about, like, I mean, half the time, you know, you might see a producer or a director and they're just dressed in like shorts and a t-shirt. Like they're not always going to look the part. It just happened that I did look the part. And yeah, so it was just kind of like I appreciate that you started Inktober, but, you know, you might want to get the skills to back up that kind of attitude first. There, I said it. I do like his work, though. I'm not going to say I don't like his work. I like his inks. I think they're charming, and he's gotten a hell of a lot better, you know, in the last few years. But by no means is he like the best inker. I'm not sure who is. If I had to be like my hands down my favorite inker, and not inker, but someone who uses ink. I don't want to be like comic book inker per se, but I mean, Sean Gordon Murphy would be way the hell at the top of my list. His use of inks is just mind-blowing. In that same boat, Matteo Scalera, right, who's picking up the Harley Quinn novel, the spin-off of White Knight. No, you know what's funny though is like I look at the stuff that the Inktober account tags and shit, and even when my posts have been like way up in terms of likes and all that stuff, they're not going to do it because my stuff is not wholesome enough for the Inktober account, and you know, that's fine. Whatever. I have noticed that they tend to go for the much more wholesome stuff. But I think he's pretty religious too, so it makes sense, and that's fine. Like, that's his call. I don't really care that much. All right, let's. I don't really feel the need to like ink the background. You know, like there's no reason for me to, because I don't want it to actually have line art. So what we're gonna do really quick here, I'm gonna do some like really quick and dirty flats just to silhouette them. I don't even want it to be accurate necessarily. That's not gonna get it done. Whoa, that's definitely not gonna get it done. But I mean, you know, if I say like favorite ink users of all time, that's such a wide and varied list, and that's different. I'm thinking like current people that use inks a lot, right? Because otherwise you got to get into Bernie Wrightson and damn it, I always forget his name. The guy that Wrightson was looking at. I I don't know why I always forget his name. It's so weird. But then also like Hal Foster and all those guys. But if we talk about just like current people that do inks awesomely, you know, Sean Murphy, Matteo Scalera, of course Kim Jung-gi. You know, you have to, because he's a badass. Oh man, what's his name? I'm not gonna remember his name right now. Jovals. Yeah, I got the plot holes one. I got the one with the artist proof because I have his artist proof for Tokyo Ghost, and it's fucking amazing. So to have that like full size artist proof is just so rad. And so I'm not worrying about how clean these flats are because I actually just want to get into starting to lay in color in the environment. So I don't need these. I just want to. This is just so that I can see clearly where the characters are. Okay. I really wish, and I don't know why you can't do this, but Procreate needs to add opacity for groups, for folders, essentially. And I don't know why they don't have that, because they really need that. It would make my life easier. And they should be concerned with making my life easier. Just trying to think of what brush I want to block this out in. I will probably use this one. So I have one that's less painterly, but I don't think so. That's fine. This one's fine, I think. What's the grain on this? This is what we're gonna do. I want to adjust this grain. I don't want so much. I don't mind a little bit, but for these purposes, I don't want a ton. I think that'll probably do it. What do you think? Alright. Where are we at? Oh, thanks. Sly Cobra. Yeah, I need to get back to doing some of those. It's like, it's so hard. I feel like I'm dangerously close to spreading myself a little thin. And so I definitely need to get back to some of those things because, like, I find some of those practices very calming, and so it's a good thing to do stuff that you find calming. I need I'm just trying to think of a base color, but I don't know that we need to worry about it too much. We're just gonna start throwing some colors down. Because it's about mood, right? why I'm doing that. Why am I doing that? No, I don't want to do a previous color, you dick. There. Like, I don't know why I was about to just brush in that whole thing. Huh, do I have a... Is it just different colors I picked? Is that what that is? Hello. 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 Oh yeah, slightly different color. Cute. Okay. Get some greens in there. Some nice greens and stuff. This is really just about color variation right now, and then I'll start to pull out details and shit. I want a dense forest, but I don't want it to necessarily feel really dark. So I feel like we're gonna need to get some nice kind of blues in there. And then that might actually be too blue if we want to feel like there's some... I don't know, we'll see, that could work. I'm trying to think ahead in terms of like getting the feeling that maybe there's some light filtering down through the canopy in some areas, and we'll see. I don't want to like sit there spelling out every single tree in a dense forest. So, and I have made the mistake of not thinking through this ahead of time. So I'm like, oh, I have this idea. And now I'm like, wait a second, how should I show that? So this will be interesting. But I feel like we can do it with just a little kind of trial and error. Is just getting like the bottom part of a canopy. Because I want some I don't know why this track makes me want like a T-punch. I feel like I should be kind of like on a beach somewhere. It's got that slide guitar going. You know, like a lap steel guitar. I always want a T-punch though, so what else is new? What else is new? So I got some nice, more golden kind of stuff. Do I have? I do. You know, I haven't gotten into Sketchbook Pro in a long time. What happened was I liked Sketchbook a lot more for drawing than, say, Photoshop, because Photoshop kind of sucks for drawing, or it used to. But then, with the combination of some updates in Photoshop and the updated Cintiq Pros, right? Drawing felt a lot better in Photoshop than it used to. So then I kind of didn't really have a reason to break into Sketchbook Pro as much anymore. So yeah, it's been a long time. This is gonna get way too even, so we'll have to definitely play with this. One thing I also need to decide, which I kind of already did, I want the sunlight to be coming in from like the upper right, so I should probably start thinking about that. Now would be a good time. But otherwise, yeah, I pretty much just use either Photoshop or Procreate at this point. I dabbled in like Clip Studio as well. That was great for drawing, but I wasn't drawing enough on the computer to warrant like really spending a lot of time in like one particular app just for drawing, you know, because at the end of the day, I was like, if I want to do like a really nice drawing, I'm gonna do it on paper. So at the very least, I have an original, you know. But I have to say, I've gotten very used to drawing digitally now, and like if anyone saw the Suicide Squad fandom posters from the DC fandom, like I started that in pencil. Originally that was just a pencil drawing that then I'd painted up on the computer, but because we ended up adding characters later, I just ended up drawing them and actually cleaning up all the line work digitally. So and by the time everything was painted up, I was like, I can't even tell what was pencil and what wasn't, because it's gone through so many iterations of like cleaning those things up. You know, cleaning up the characters and some of the line work and all that stuff. So yeah, I was like, oh well. So I was like struggling with doing a nice pencil drawing almost for no reason. It wasn't really for no reason. It was just that when I started those pieces and I was looking at, I think originally it was like 12 or 13 characters, and it was just a lot to wrap my head around, and it was just easier for me to think through it in pencils for some reason. Now, yeah, I would just start it digitally. I wouldn't get precious with it. But I think I also had some different intentions when I had first started those pieces, as far as like how it was gonna look. But then, you know, we kind of through a bit of trial and error and exploration, what we landed at, you know, was its own thing, kind of. So it's cool. I dig how they turned out. So I have no complaints. It was a fun process, if a little bit daunting. All right, I want to get into the tree trunks back there before because I want to make some vines and shit hanging down, but I feel like I should get into those tree trunks before I do the vines and things. And I do feel like it's a little too much like really bright stuff happening. Because really the only tree trunks that should maybe be fairly bright are the ones that are right at the edge of the river, like catching possibly some direct sunlight or reflected light off the river, off the creek. off the babbling brook. Willie, yeah, I did a piece for Fandom. You can literally just Google Suicide Squad Fandom poster, and you'll see it come up. It's like the old, vintage war movie style poster of all of them running toward camera like a low angle. I mean, I say that was a project that we at Bond did. I did the, illustration. I did all the drawing and painting stuff. But it was it was just really fun because we don't often get to do pieces where we get to just draw it from scratch. Right, but because we didn't actually have photography to support the concept, the poses, and the angle that we wanted, I had to draw it from scratch, and so it made it challenging, but it made it a lot of fun because that's not usually how we get to work. So, got to give huge props to not only the filmmakers and the clients over there at Warner Brothers, but also, the folks at Bond that helped push that thing through. It takes a village, it really does. Because it's like, even if I end up doing, like almost all the work on the illustration side, there's like so much that goes on behind the scenes of creative directors like pushing ideas through to the clients, and really selling ideas that we believe in, So, yeah, there it is, right? Yeah. It's too bad that they only have the one version, because I know at Fandom they released both the versions. There's just a swap in terms of Harley is wearing a little different outfit, and Bloodsport has his mask on, and little things. It's just fun. Alright. Starting to get... Let's get, think of... Oh, Autumn, I don't know if they can see... Does Restream push out the chat to... I think it does. Right? Does it push the Twitch chat out to YouTube? I feel like it does. Let's get some... Oh, too late. Alright, I want to get the trunks that are like off in the back, but I don't want them too dark. And this particular part of the forest is like very like straight kind of tree trunks. It's not all like windy, bendy oaks and stuff. It's not that kind. All right, now we're starting to get somewhere with this. This kind of stuff is all just about layering shit. Thank you. Yeah, it's a super fun piece. I was very excited when I heard that the client and the filmmakers were super excited about it. So it's like, hell yes. I mean, I gotta say, man, when it comes to doing posters and stuff, Warner Brothers, dude, they're awesome. Just from like the illustration perspective, you know, like they really seem to love illustrated posters. And to the point where they just give us a lot of freedom, you know, like oftentimes we get to just kind of like have fun and do our thing, and they're like, awesome, we love it. So shout out to Warner Brothers. Thanks for being awesome clients. And, you know, for me, I love those vintage movie posters. So, you know, like getting to kind of do this homage to Frank McCarthy, who, for my money, is just one of the best poster illustrators of all time. You know, was awesome. I love that shit. Certain point, I might just want to see what I think I still need this. Then I'll get some bigger trunks that are like that are closer. I just wanted to get these guys going. Start to get some depth back there, and I like some of that kind of this sort of greenish gold light that's happening. That's really fun. I think I want some of that, some of these other areas too. Might even get a little more light happening in some places, just like peeking through, just to give us a sense of like some kind of depth back there. I like that. Me likey. Do I kind of want to? I'm just getting some of these little lights peeking through, knowing that probably some of them will end up getting covered. So I'm gonna give myself a little more of them than I need, because I'm gonna have some vines and things. I don't know if they're vines. I don't know what they're going to be. Jungly, foresty, dangly things. I don't know that these are the types of trees that would necessarily have vines, but what it could be, so maybe they're not coming from the trees. Maybe they're more like creepers, you know? Not like the dude that's watching you in the shadows in the restaurant. Not that kind of creeper, but creeping vines, you know, like jasmine or wild grapes. We'll get, like down here we'll see them, but up in Northern California where I grew up, you'd get these patches of wild grapes. I would just create these walls of leaves. They were pretty awesome looking. And I don't know if I'll get into that, but it was really cool to see the sort of texture that they would add. Guess what, Kat? You are like an hour and 45 minutes too early for dinner. You're gonna have to be so damn patient. Instead, she's just gonna lick the empty bowl. Silly cat. Alright, let's this stuff going. I just wanted to lighten up that under canopy color for the background. You know, just fake some atmosphere back there. Because I don't think that it's... Although I could, because, you know, there is like a sort of a magical quality to where they are. Imagine a TARDIS if it was an island, right? It's bigger on the inside. That's kind of how this island is. What they, like when they land there and then, you know, the next morning they look around and they think they have an idea of the size of it and they think it's not that big and they see a mountain kind of just through the woods and they're like, okay, let's go up there and get a look around. And it looks like it should take them like half a day to get from the beach to the top of the mountain, and it ends up taking like several days to get like just to the base of the mountain. And they're very confused. They know they haven't gotten turned around. This is a very strange land they have entered. Some of the stuff is a little too even. A little too even. Though I should probably get another layer going and worry about that. Then let's do that. Bigger chunks. Though not, I don't want to go huge with the closer ones. Hello, Goo Goo. How are you? How are you? All right, bigger. Now, to a degree, I shouldn't worry terribly about where the trees fall in relation to them, because the entire environment is going to be moving a little bit, I think. But for our purposes right now, we will pay some attention. Sorry, I'm just thinking I should, I need to consider that I am going to be like animating, so I need the layers to be done properly. But all that means is a little bit of copy and paste of our foliage. Nothing crazy. I just realized if I want these background trees to be moving at a different speed, right? Get that parallax going. We just gotta do that. We have got to do this. There. Now we can put this shit on one layer. Oh, I was like, where did it go? Probably help if I turned that layer on, huh? Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. And then we'll get some bushes and stuff in front of these, so. But then this way, you know, we can kind of move these around and we'll get some parallax when we do eventually animate this stuff. So that'll be fun. Now I don't want all of these to be like the exact same size. I'd like to hint at some kind of age difference, and you know, some of the trees might be older, some younger. I'm just getting in these kind of bigger ones first, and then we'll scale that down, get some younger growth going. Starting to get a nice kind of foresty vibe. I can dig it. Starting to feel like a forest I might want to visit, which is the idea. Some nice clean golden light kind of stuff happening. I can dig it. Get kind of a denser feel, which we'll get. I want to add some shrubbery and underbrush, I should say, not shrubbery. That makes it sound curated, cosmetic. So it'll be undergrowth. Bugging me a bit. Think about how I want to layer this stuff, right? Like kind of the technicality of it. Not just from the animation standpoint, but just to kind of like help build the sort of depth that I want, and hopefully without having to do an exhaustive amount of work. Right? I don't want to do that because I feel like that defeats the purpose, especially if I want this to sort of function as some kind of a VizDev animation frame. I think if it's something that I spend like way too long on, then it's sort of like cost prohibitive in a way, right? If it like there's no way you could create an entire project around a look that, if it takes you a week to get one frame done. Even like working as one person, granted, like if you had a whole team, of course it's different. You'd have one person like doing a layout, you'd have one person like painting the background, one person drawing the characters, someone else cleaning them up, someone else coloring them. So theoretically then you could potentially get it all done in one day, but that's still like one frame in a day, and that's not, even that is a bit cost prohibitive. Now I don't have to totally worry about that right now, but it is something to keep in mind. Also keeps you from rendering the shit out of everything too much. That's not what we want. Of course, this is already like way divergent from the style that I've kind of like, that I was sort of honing in on for the environments, but I think this is more of my natural inclination, and it maybe doesn't make sense to fight that too much, even if I'm like, oh, but I like the look of this thing. If it's just kind of like a pain in the ass to get there, and what's the point? Plus, I like the look of, you know, say something like Legend of Korra, where they had the cel shaded characters and these really beautifully painted backgrounds, you know, which is sort of like a TV version of Studio Ghibli films, right, where the characters are all cel shaded, and then you have Grandmaster Katsuo Oga painting these just gorgeous masterpieces. It just blows my mind because I'm like, dude, some of those paintings that are just stunning are literally seen for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, wow, that is just wild. Wild and crazy. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to sneeze. A little more golden with this. Too even. I need to break these up a bit. Part of what will help that though is because I want these to be catching light. So I kind of want them to have like light bark, I think. I think we should, like, not an aspen tree per se, but maybe, you know, sort of along those lines. We'll get a little bit of, hang on, I started that way too high, because I feel like if they catch light, it's gonna be down here. And this could be fun because I can kind of push and pull the trees a little bit, right? So like based on how far forward they are, they might be catching more or less light. So that's it could be kind of fun to play with. And maybe some of them are only catching some like dapple light. starting to get a nice, nice feel there. Even more so, I'm gonna push the light more. I just want to get this kind of pass of, you know, the sort of mid-tones, I guess. Because I actually want the trunks to be even lighter. I think we'll give it a nice vibe. Kind of vibe that I want. I gotta create like a happy playlist for stuff like this, because some of these like gritty blues tracks maybe go just a little dark. Even though blues makes me happy. Which is so weird if you think about it, because it's all in the name, right? It's not necessarily a happy... I mean, some of the blues songs are meant to be happy, but some of them, I don't think so. I don't think so. Getting a little more kind of dappled light going on some of these, because it just makes sense. Go a little more golden and a bit lighter. I think this will probably be the lightest that will go. Oh. Yeah, let's stretch. I feel like I'll probably need to also just get a little bit of reflected light on some of these. Because otherwise I feel like they're just going to feel too flat, I think, and a little too dark. So I just want to get the sense that maybe there's some light bouncing around. So we'll get into that. Alpha is our brand. How's everyone doing on this fine Saturday? It's been like, I think now it's like 85 or something, but this morning it was gorgeous. Like right around noon, it was just like about 75 degrees outside. It was so nice. Of course, I think we're in for another heat wave starting next weekend, so that's not going to be fun, but what are you going to do? It's what you get for living in Southern California. Smudgy. Let's get into some reflected lights here. I don't want them too bright though, and I want a little greenish, a little more green. And I just want it lighter than the trunk, maybe a little more saturated than that. So I don't know if it's reflected light so much as maybe just sort of ambient light that's kind of filtering through the trees a little bit. I don't want to go too crazy with it. I just want it on the sort of backside of the trunks here. Feel like there's probably a better way I could have broken this up, but whatever. The other thing I have to remember is that if it's going to be moving, it's not going to be this still image that everyone can like pick apart and scrutinize, right? That's kind of not the point. I mean, they can if they want, but I don't care. Okay. A couple more layers going. Let's do our... Because I want like foliage and stuff in front of the trees. So let's grab this color. Not just foliage though, it's like I want foliage, I want some rocks and stuff too. And then I'm gonna put another layer of foliage and underbrush behind the trees as well. So, and then that'll give us a nice like dense feeling. And maybe justify a bit more. Hang on. It's, I feel like I'm losing sight of... Yeah, I am. Let's not lose sight of that. So this stuff should actually be up here. I had, like, over-painted... I wonder if we want to address that. Easy enough. god, I sort of had this little waterfall thing happening, but maybe I don't think we'll. That was a super last minute addition, so I don't think we'll do that. I feel like it'll just starting to just get too clever, and I don't like that. Crazy little cat. I feel like I can get away with being a lot more painterly on this. Pretty sure. Because realistically, what I could even do is blur some of this stuff at some point. We'll see. Maybe. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We shall see. Let's get some... stones. We want these stones to actually be lighter. They're kind of sun bleached. Let's see. We shall see. Sometimes getting painterly, it's really easy to just kind of rely on the shape of the brush to do to do the work. The problem is it can also get really boring that way if you do that. Our character's out of here for now. Just because it can get repetitive if you rely too much on the shape of the brush, right? And so there are ways around that, and you can either switch up your brush or just change the way that you're using it and start to describe some more specific shapes. Right? So So that's what I'm gonna do right here is kind of just describe some other kinds of shapes. That will at least start to kind of push it away from the foliage on the trees, right? And that's kind of the idea. And then we'll get into some colors too. I had some other stuff that I like had thought about streaming before, and it was more though just because I was like, oh, I feel like doing this thing, and like, no, you know what? I have projects that I actually want to do stuff with, so I should do something that pertains to one of those projects. It's tough because I definitely have a bit of a artistic ADD, right? Where like I'll just go off on these tangents of like, oh, I feel like using this medium, so I'm gonna do that, and now I feel like using this medium, so I'm gonna do that, and this and that, and then before I know it, I'm like way off from the projects that I had initially intended to push forward, and then it like becomes a big chore to get back to them and remember what the hell I was doing, what my intentions were, and all that. So I'm trying now not to do that so much. Even though I think we are definitely going to get into doing a little bit of oil painting on the stream pretty soon. Just because I feel like oil painting, but I'll keep that stuff pretty simple, I think, at least in terms of like just keeping it smaller, more manageable. There is the coaster show coming up, so I gotta do something for that. Little pieces of artwork done on like beer coasters, so they're just small, but again, just a nice excuse to do some oil painting. So I just got to figure out what the hell I'm gonna paint, and I don't know. I want to get some reflected light on these guys. I mean, I'm still gonna get into all the lighting and shit too. Overlay layers and all that juicy goodness. They do have names, actually. For now, they are Monk over here and Fish over here, but those are more. Those aren't their actual names. I'm just not telling anybody their actual names yet because we don't know their real names for a while. It's more done from like a smartass standpoint, because they don't really get along that well in the beginning. So it's more a smartass thing where because he's a mana monk and she's a warrior monk. But the mana monks are typically considered more like monkish, right? Because they're a little more spiritual, and the warrior monks are much more physical. Her style is like a Makara style, right? Her fighting style. The Makara is a sacred fish. So it's more as like a belittling thing from both their standpoints, where she just calls him monk because she's heard the stories, because he's a bit of a playboy. And he calls her fish, kind of again as a belittling thing. So for a while, like, that kind of sticks, and then I think it becomes a bit of terms of endearment for them along the way, even though we do learn their real names at some point. But for a while, they're just monk and fish. So, which was actually, oh, I probably should have zoomed in on that whole thing, huh? That's maybe a good idea. Which is actually inspired initially by, if anyone has seen the animated short by Michael Dudok DeWitt called The Monk and the Fish. It is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful short film. Much more poignant than what I'm doing here. He did it all in, I think, India ink and watercolor, and it is just gorgeous. I love that thing. I think you can find it on YouTube. I can't guarantee that it would be very high resolution because it's from, I want to say it's from the late 90s. But it is gorgeous. The Monk and the Fish. And it sort of like encompasses the essence of Buddhism, I think, where the monk has to kind of become one with the fish in order to control, not really control the fish, he has to give up control in order to control, right? In order to have any feeling of control in his world, he has to completely relinquish all his control. Really, really beautiful animation. Same guy that did Father and Daughter, which I believe won Best Animated Short in the Oscars, like, again, years ago. Probably 20 years ago. Another beautiful piece of animation, but a bit more heart-wrenching. And thank you, Sarah. I'm glad it's at least somewhat interesting. It's hard to know because I'm like, some of this stuff I'm just kind of trying to make it up as I go, and realize I probably should have found some more specific like reference and stuff. I've looked at reference for this kind of thing. I just didn't necessarily go and find reference to use while I'm doing this. And I probably should have. I may like go and look at stuff later and then see if there's anything that I want to kind of tweak or correct or something, or if maybe if it'll give me some ideas of things to add, but yeah, I'm glad that it's at least tolerable. Okay, I do need to zoom in here and look at this stuff. I'm a fan of these kind of like more the impressions of things. I don't, something like this, especially if we're going to add any kind of movement onto it, Um, you know, just the camera panning and stuff, which creates its own kind of almost a motion blur. And we may add some actual motion blur, but I'm not sure. I don't know that we will. I don't really feel like the camera will be moving fast enough to warrant that. But you know, I look at like landscape painters, you know, like Scott Christensen, you know, someone like Joseph Spukvich with his watercolors, and just the impressions that they get of landscapes, and they feel like the landscapes that they're painting, and yet they're not crazy detailed, and I love that. Yeah, they're so good at kind of breaking down those shapes into something that we can relate to. And to me, that's a bit more compelling than trying to really like spell it out. Obviously, there's no point in doing a photoreal. I don't mind having like a photographic impression at a certain point, but I don't want it to look like a photograph. Yeah, what I prefer are the ones that have like, you know, when you see them small, they almost look like they could be a photo, but then you zoom in and you're like, oh, whoa, no, that's not a photo at all. And so that is, if anything, that's more the type of impression that I like from any kind of artwork, really. Yeah, I don't really want it to look like a photo at the end. Just realized I need a little more variations on the colors. I mean, some of that stuff we can always come back in and put more variety, right? We don't have to get it all. I do find this stuff a little easier when you tackle it in like passes, right? So do a pass, because you do want some unity in the overall palette, so that does involve reusing colors, reusing values, to kind of help unify the whole thing. Otherwise it'll just get super busy and not good, which defeats the purpose, especially of any kind of like more animated background. Can't have that. But then if I'm gonna reuse color, I don't want to like reuse it in too many places, especially knowing that I'm going to come back through with a different color but also a lighter value, right? Like, which I already did over there on the left, where I went more toward the blue side, and right now we're more toward the yellow side of the greens. But we'll come back with some of those blues. Okay. Want some of these things like hanging over, but let's make sure they're not all just hanging in the same direction. The other thing with doing foliage is you gotta kind of like build in a certain amount of randomness, right? Like, yeah, it can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Not gonna lie. These darks in there. Time for another sandwich? I hope these are small sandwiches that you're eating. Or are they ice cream sandwiches? Because I had one sandwich and that was plenty for me. But my metabolism has also slowed down. It's not like it used to be. On one hand, I miss my old metabolism because I could just eat whatever I wanted and as much as I wanted, and it didn't do a damn thing. Then, 35 comes along and your body's like, let's shake things up just to make it interesting. But, on the other hand, so much cheaper now. Because I don't have to eat nearly as much. And it's kind of nice. I gotta say. My tiny 100-pound girlfriend literally eats as much as I do at dinner. Because her metabolism is just insane. In fact, last night at dinner, she ate more than I did. Yeah, that's actually not a bad way to eat, honestly. Like, in Ayurveda, they do say it's actually better to eat smaller portions more often. Rather than, like, just 2 meals a day, but they're, like, giant portions, The American way. Just massive lunches and massive dinners. And I'm not sure the American way is the healthiest way. Along. I don't want to go like too crazy. I want to get some colors because I do want some like flowers and stuff in there, but I don't want to like. Partly, I'm also getting impatient with it, so I don't want to get too impatient either. But when stuff starts to get repetitive, I get impatient. Maybe I shouldn't have done a forest scene, huh? Doesn't get much more repetitive than that. I'm my own worst enemy. That's okay. That's okay. It's also that point where I'm just like, I just want to see it start coming together, and once it does, then it all is, it's all fun, right? And this is part of the process. It's like, there are parts where we're bound to get bored, we're bound to get a little fed up, or maybe we don't like where something's headed, and just gotta push through. Push through. There's so much more value in pushing through and figuring out how to make something work rather than cutting out and starting a new piece, thinking that it's got to be, you know, looking 100 at all times, because that ain't gonna happen. Not now, not never. Ooh, pulled pork sandwich. Ooh. I've been wanting to break out the smoker and make some smoked pulled pork again. I love doing that stuff. I'll do like a spicy Cajun rub on it, and so good. So good. But mostly I want to make pulled pork tacos. That's what I want. Because, you know, California. Taco land. Land of the taco. California. And I almost was gonna do that next week, but I'm like, no, I've actually got too much work to do. I can't really sit there and like keep going in and out, checking on the smoker and basting sauce on all that shit. Like, nope, gotta do work. Smoked pulled pork will have to wait. Dang it. Alright, sorry, we're gonna have to be zoomed out here because zooming in is like feeding my impatience. I'm like, I don't, because we're never actually going, well, okay, I should consider that we would see it at least partially full like that. Okay. I can dig it. Yes, some of you girls are blessed. Hi. Cat. It is so not time to eat right now, kid. Sorry. Dude. Do this. There, see, it doesn't take much to start adding a little bit of fun detail in there. Cut back into some shapes here and there, and good to go. Not to mention, I feel like I'm getting too precious with some of this. It's partly because I'm like, I've been thinking about some other things in the back of my mind, not for this, but just more like work-oriented, you know, some styles that I don't necessarily have in my repertoire. And it's not to say I can't do them. It's more that some things I feel like they just take me longer than I think they should, And so when you get into that like smoother rendering style that you see in a lot of like kind of anime style art, or even kind of the League of Legends stuff, like it's not my natural inclination. I like things more painterly and textural than that. But every now and then we will get something at work where we do need to do that smoother rendering where it almost looks like a 3D model, And then it's like I can do it, but it takes me a while to warm up to it. I don't have a process for it that's set. And so I've been thinking about that stuff in the back of my head. So some of this stuff started getting a little more detail-y than I intended. But that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't take much to go back and loosen things up. I don't like... I didn't like that leaf being so light. I feel like I want some of these to be catching shadows, so I feel like we should also do a bit of dappled light on some of these. At least hint at some dappled light. I swear, my cat has like eyes in the back of her head. Every time I'm like about to reach down and grab her, she like knows that I'm thinking about it and she'll just bolt. Right directly to her food bowl. As if that's gonna work. 45 minutes still, kid. Have to be patient. Exercise patience like you've never have before. I kind of feel like what I should do really quick though, only because it's going to affect the silhouette read of these. I feel like I should get the bushes that are going to be back behind the trees. So let's do that real quick. Let's pick, let's see, a little bit of color right there. Looks like a good, yeah, that's good. And this is where I don't want to zoom in because I'm more interested in the impression that this stuff will give. Because strictly speaking, this is going to be more like deep background. So I don't want to get like super detaily with it. Just work our way across, getting some of this stuff in there. And this stuff just needs to have like little doodly, finicky shapes. Right? It doesn't need to be nearly as detailed as that foliage that's up front there. So a couple of things I want to do to start to get a sense of of kind of the impression that this is going to have, I think, is let's get our river and this is where I'm so tempted to, like, not sure if I want it's totally gonna grab her. Because like we could go more cartoony, right, and do water that's like more kind of bluish, or I could go a little more realistic and not do that. I feel like maybe we should do... We probably could actually get away with a little bit of blue if we take the blue from the background. Let's see. Let's see if only as much as the painting can bear, right? And we shall see. I just don't want it to feel like wrong. And then, of course, we'll have some foreground foliage and stuff too. But okay, now we've a little better sense. I think our rocks will need to extend them down a bit. So they're too in line with that foliage that's behind them. I mean, these are basically supposed to be at the shoreline, so it's kind of okay. I have a feeling at some point I'm gonna have to do some like cutting cutting out of things if I really want to like get the animation to read properly, because I have no idea how I would tackle the water. Not a clue. But that's okay. It'll be a learning process. So got you. Let's get some rocks out here, like closer. Right. Should probably put them on a different layer, but oh well. Oh well. So I figure I'm better off just like kind of quickly blocking everything in, and then I can kind of come back and detail stuff out. But best to just get the quick impression down, and then we can refine it. And because I know I'm not going to finish this today, since Saturday night is date night, always, so don't have that much time. How long have we been on? About 3 hours. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do in the next half hour, and then see what we can speed through here. And then for those on Twitch, we'll see if there's someone that we can raid. That's always fun. I don't think it was the last time. I think it was the time before. I totally forgot to stop streaming, so the poor YouTubers didn't know what was going on. I'm sorry about that. After the raid, like all it was showing was the desktop of my phone. But they could hear what was going on because the sound was feeding in from the computer. And I'm sure that was all kinds of confusing. But if you don't know, on Twitch, we can raid someone else who is live streaming. So we can, all of us viewers can hop on to their live stream. And it's fun. Let me turn this off again. Getting that reflected light, and I'll refine the interaction. Right now this is just super quick and dirty. But let's it's so much easier when I can just paint stuff mostly on one layer sometimes. Because then I don't have to like go back and forth. But let's do it right. Or at least right-ish. Let's do it not wrong. One of the things that I haven't quite decided is how fast I want like the water to be moving. I want a little more light happening. So let's get a little sense of kind of luminosity going on. And then I'll get some ripple lines, water lines and stuff happening that can help describe a bit more. Water is kind of just all about getting some layers in there so that it doesn't feel totally flat, you know? Get the sense that maybe there's some stuff happening under the surface and things like that. And because of the light refraction and all that, the reflections should not be as dark nor as light, right? So the darks in the reflection should not be as dark as the darks in the actual object that they're reflecting, and the lights should not be as light. Hope that was not confusing. A lot of it's just like practice, you know. I mean, yeah, it's just practice. You just start kind of drawing and painting more and more and more stuff, and then before you know it, you start to develop shorthands and things like that. And then it's also about practicing efficiency more than anything. I think that's kind of the way that we want to think about this, is like, how can we be more efficient, right? Because it's not the deceptive quality of speed. Hey, Shipleaf, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. The deceptive quality of speed is that people sometimes think it's about moving quickly, right? And in art, that's not the case. It's more about efficiency, working efficiently, and not wasting a bunch of marks. Because if we think about it, all this stuff, it just comes down to mark making, right? And the more marks that we have to put down and erase, the longer anything is going to take. So if we want it to take less time, it's generally better to focus on, okay, how can I put down fewer marks to get to the end result that I want, right? So that's one of the things that I love about pen, about working in pen, is that it forces you to be efficient, right? Because you can't erase it. So you got to just live with the marks that you put down. And it's just a nice way to think about it. There are times that I find myself, especially with pencil, getting too like finicky, and I'll just start using like way too many marks, and I hate it. I can't stand it. So that is always a time that I then like will break out the pen again and be like, all right, it's time to get that efficiency back, and then it affects my pencil sketching as well. So that's a good thing. So if you think about speed, working quickly, just work on that more efficient mark making, and that'll usually kind of get you there eventually. And mileage is king. Alright, let's get some ripple lines. Blue. And then this will also kind of give us a sense of which way the water is flowing, right? We have these lines going back, trailing past our rocks and whatnot. That's our indicator that our water is flowing from right to left. So they are headed upstream. feel like I want. I'm gonna pull a little Bob Ross before we get too far and blur these reflections a little bit. Even though I kept them fairly insubstantial already. I don't want the edges to get too sharp on them. Especially if we have like moving water, and there are these many rocks, this many rocks. So, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, my friend. As I'm doing this weird pseudo animation background kind of deal. I don't know. I'm just first and foremost, just trying to have fun with it. Secondly, I want it to look like a fun piece and a fun place. You know? I mean, I haven't really gotten into the lighting yet, and I feel like the lighting and stuff will add so much to this as well. And I'm not entirely sure how that, because the lighting, at least on this, will be dependent on blending modes, right? But those blending modes don't necessarily translate over to Luma Fusion that I was gonna kind of cut it all together in and move it in. So I'm gonna have to see. I think Luma Fusion might have its own sort of versions of that, but I'm not positive, so we'll see. But I gotta finish all of this shit first anyway, so I'm not gonna worry about it just yet. But hey, it's got a nice vibe, right? It's feeling kind of watery, and I feel like the color is working okay. It's having spent a fair amount of time as a child, and in like junior high and stuff, on some creeks, fishing with my pops. Like, it's starting to have the kind of vibe that I want. I was never much into lake fishing. I find fishing in open water, like more open water like that, like kind of boring, because you're just like sitting there on a boat. Granted, I wasn't old enough to drink, so I'd probably have a very different appreciation of it now. But I always liked fishing in the creeks because it was active. You know, you cast out, you let the line go down, cast out again, let the line, and do that a few times, and then you move to another spot if you're not getting any bites. And so I liked that activity. You just had to be extra mindful of poison oak. Because that shit ain't fun. My pleasure, Lennis. Any advice I can give, I will give. I don't always have the answers. Sometimes I'm looking for answers of my own. But, you know, if I do have the answers, I will share them. Or if I have, you know, some answers, maybe not all of the answers. It's getting a nice sort of tree vibe. You know what I'm gonna do? I wanna there's an easier way. I want to give them a brighter color because now they're like sinking back into the background. So I just want to be able to see them more clearly. Maybe not quite that clearly. Let's get a color that maybe works a little bit more with the environment. Going magenta crazy over here. There we go. Alright. That feels better. It's feeling pretty good. What time is it? We got 15 minutes here. Let's think about our foreground elements. Best way to do this would be to quickly knock in some shapes and then play with some lighting. Knowing that this stuff is gonna move, right? When we get into some parallax type craziness, this will move faster, right? Being in the foreground than the other stuff will. And realistically, I probably have more layers in here overall than I need, but that's okay. I'd rather that than having too few. Don't want the entire foreground to be covered. Let's get a little bit of variety in here real quick. Then once I get, these shapes in here, then I can just alpha lock it and drop in some color. So I just want some shapes that feel good. We'll want to make sure that these foreground leaves also don't read as the same, like they don't want to appear the same size as those ones further back, so we'll need to make sure that they, like, technically sure they're the same size, same type of tree, blah blah blah, but I just want to make sure that the actual leaves are larger in the foreground, right? Or at least feel that way, so that's where we can actually get into a little more deliberate definition of shapes. And what I might actually end up doing, just knowing that I'm going to be exporting all of these things as PNGs at a certain point, just so that I've got the transparency on each layer. So I'll export each layer as its own PNG. So what I might end up doing is I may actually make this layer smaller, knowing that I can scale it up to give myself room to pan, right? I feel like that might be a better way to go, but I'm not gonna worry about it just yet. Let's just get this stuff in. Mostly because if this is going to be moving faster, then I actually need more room, right, on the left and right to move this stuff. So let's go ahead and do that, knowing that like this will move around, not like this because that would be weird, but it'll just move as the background moves. So let's make sure that we have some room to do that. And knowing that we will scale it up. And then this will also give us a little bit of room to play vertically, right? So we can play with a little bit of like organic movement on the camera, so it doesn't necessarily feel like it's totally locked. Maybe Night 98, I don't even know what that means. Pickle Rick for Smash. I wish I knew what that meant. But I don't. I'm not one of the cool kids. I just draw stuff and paint stuff. By the way, the kind of super rough animation stuff that I'm talking about, you can who is it that has the tutorial? Nikolai Lockertson has a tutorial on Gumroad. You will know him from the Nico Rule brush, right, which is a standard Procreate brush. He is the creator of that. And he has some awesome Procreate tutorials on Gumroad. I would highly recommend. Let's get one more. I want gonna get another tree in here just to break it up. I shouldn't really care about tangents right now because all of the stuff is going to be moving and it'll be super easy to address that later, but I can't help it. I don't like looking at tangents. Tangent? I don't even want to look at you right now. This is bugging me. Bad shapes. Little bit of a silhouette detail on these, because I don't think I'll go into too much detail on this stuff. Like, it's gonna be pretty much all about the silhouette read. We'll get a little bit of kind of ambient light filtering in and stuff, but I don't want to go crazy with it. Right, so the idea is really gonna be something like this. So this will pan, right? And so that'll give us room to pan around with it, whichever way we decide to go. So I feel like that'll give us room. So that's cool. That's cool. Word. Oh, okay. Well, I think that's about as far as I'm gonna get on this today. And I don't hate it. I actually quite like it. Let's see where we started. Oh, it started. Oh, look at that. Went through some various size incarnations. Interesting. Why does it have the black bars? Oh, because of where it started. That's kind of cool. I'll be adding the black bars onto it anyway, so. I can dig it. Cool. Alright, folks, I think I gotta call it. I want to thank everyone for joining in. Thank you for the conversations and keeping me up to speed on current events. That's always a good thing. I get lost in my art world sometimes. Super appreciate it. I want to see if there's anyone on Twitch. Wow, there's like nobody I follow on Twitch right now. Does anyone have any good art channels that are on right now to raid? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Opening link in a new tab is what I'm doing. No, sorry, Ross. I'm not gonna raid you. What am I doing here? I don't know any of these others though. And I don't like to raid channels I'm not familiar with. Because I never know what I'm going to drop you into. So I don't think we're going to be able to raid today. We'll have to hope we can raid someone on Monday. So, oh well. That's it. Thanks again, everyone, for joining on Twitch and on YouTube. And I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle through this environment. The struggle is not done, but it is real. So I will be back on Monday. I'll update my schedule on Twitch for anyone that wants to drop in there to check it out. Yeah, I will see you Monday evening. Until then, I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Maybe have a cocktail or two. Unwind. Chill. Hang out with some loved ones. And be cool.